This is the review assignment for Tutorial 4. It begins on page 304. You're going to go ahead and open up the review folder from the Tutorial 4 from your data files, and then go ahead and open up the rows text and race text files from the Tutorial .04 review folder, and enter your name and date in the comment section of each file, and then resave each file as rows.htm and race.css. Go ahead and do that now. Remember, at any time you can pause the YouTube video, go back, reread steps or anything of that nature, but make sure you are also following along in the book. So after we have renamed everything, make sure you're on page 304. We're starting on step 2 down at the bottom of the page. It says go to the rows.htm file in your text editor and take some time to review the content and structure of the file. Link the file to the race.css style sheet and then save your changes to the file. In the rows.htm, make sure you put your link underneath the script and start with your bracket link, the href equals quotation mark, race.css quotation mark, rel equals quotation mark, style sheet quotation mark, and then end the bracket. And then do a quick save, and we're on to step 3. We want to return to our race file in our text editor and a style rule to display the header article, aside figure, fig caption, H group section, and nav elements as blocks. So I'm going to go ahead and click on our race.css, and you're going to see where that's going to go below the comment section. Okay, you can see that I've entered in our comment for display HTML5 structure elements as blocks. Then underneath that we have our header, comma article, comma aside, comma figure, comma fig caption, comma H group section, comma nav bracket, and then you're going to see display colon block semicolon, and your display text should be in blue, and then you're going to have a ending bracket, and you're going to do a quick save, and then we're going to create a style rule to set the default style for every element so that every element is displayed in Veranda, Geneva, or sans serif font, has a font size of 100%, and has padding and margin space of 0 pixels. We are now on page 305, step 4. Okay, your comment for this is going to be default styles. Then you have font family, font size, padding, and margin. All of that text should be blue. And then your %sign, PX, those should also be in a darker blue. And after you've keyed everything in correctly like above, make sure you have your ending bracket. And we want to make sure to remove the underlining, we're on step 5 now, from every hypertext link within our navigation element. Okay, next you're going to have in your nav A bracket, underneath that text decoration colon, none, semicolon, closing bracket. Make sure text decoration is a shade of blue and none is a darker blue. Now we're going to go ahead and go to step 6 on 305 and create a style rule for the page body. There is a few parts to this. We want to have a position the page using relative positioning. We need to set the page width to 98% of the width of the browser window in the range from 1,000 pixels up to 14,000 pixels. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, you should have keyed in the element heading body style. Underneath that body with the bracket, we have position. If you recall, the directions said relative. Underneath that, you're going to have the width, which is 98%. The minimum width is 1,000 pixels, and the maximum width is 1,400 pixels. This now takes us to step 7, which is to create a style rule for the header element that A places the header at the coordinates of 0, 0 using absolute positioning. We want to go ahead and then set the widths to 20% of the page body, change the background color to black, and add a 500 pixel padding space to the bottom of the element. Let's go ahead and create that now. Okay, what you need to do for that, make sure we have header styles for our comment, and then you're going to start with our header. Now, background, make sure you have dash color to specify that we are changing the background color. Make sure you key in black, semicolon. Then for the position, we want absolute. Then we're going to have top and left both set to 0 pixels. We want the padding bottom to 500 pixels and the width to be to 20%. Go ahead and do a quick save, and this is now going to move us on to step 8. For the inline images within a header element, set the width to 100% of the width of the header. We're going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and click enter, and we're going to put in header image bracket, and then underneath that I'm going to press tab key width, and we're going to click colon, and then we want that to be 100% of the header, so let's go ahead and key in 100%, and then we can have our ending bracket. Now we're going to go ahead and set up our navigation list styles, and we're going to set the width of our horizontal navigation list to 80% with the left margin of 20%. For the list items within the horizontal navigation list, add styles to display each list image as a block floated on the left. Set the width of each list image to 20%. Set the background color to the value of 49, 38, 31. Set the upper and lower padding spaces to 5 pixels. Horizontally center the list item text and transform the text to uppercase letters, setting the font size to 85%. You can see right here we started with our margins left set to 20% and the width. We're going to go ahead and complete the rest of that step right now, and again that is step 9 on page 305. Okay, make sure you've specified the horizontal list, and for the display we wanted it to be block. In front of the background color, make sure you have RGB listed, then your parenthesis 49, 38, 31. Float, we want it to be left. The font size should be 85%. Your padding should be 5 pixels and 0 pixels. Your text alignment is center, and text transform uppercase and then width 20%. Go ahead and do a quick save, and we're going to move on to step 10, which is to set the color of the hypertext links in the horizontal navigation list to white if the user's mouse hovers over the mouse pointer over the link. Change the color to the value 215, 181, 151. Let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, this is actually going to be broken down into 2 style rules. So up top you can see where it says nav horizontal A color white, and then we have nav horizontal A colon hover, and there's no spaces there, so that's very important. And then we have the color RGB parenthesis 215, 218, 151. Go ahead and do a quick save now. Okay, the next step you can see is for our vertical navigation list styles. I already have that keyed in below, and that is what you're going to want to key. We are on step 11, and it says for every list item in the vertical navigation list, set the font size to 85% and remove the list style marker. If the list item belongs to a newsgroup class, add a top padding space of 25 pixels to add a bigger gap between that list item and the previous item. You can see that we've done that right here for the nav vertical list, and we did period news group. This is specifying for that and should set the padding to this top. Make sure you have that keyed in correctly and go ahead and do a quick save, and this is going to take us to step 12, and this is for every hypertext link within our vertical navigation list. We need to set the font color to white. We want to display the property to block and indent the text 10 pixels. If our user has their mouse hover over the pointer over the hypertext link, we want to change the background color to the value of 51, 51, 51, commas dividing all of that, and add a 2 pixel solid outline with the color value of 215, 181 and 115 around it. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, you can see that we have this broken down into two style rules. I just highlighted them. So we break it down with our list. So our nav.vertical space LI space A, our color is white. We want it display black. Our text indent is 10 pixels. And then our second rule is for when we want the background color to change when the mouse is hovered over it. Make sure you specify background dash color, and you have the RGB. We have 51, 51, 51, and then we want there to appear an outline around that. It's to be 2 pixels, a solid line, and then we have RGB and the numbers for the color that we would like, which is 215, 181, 151. Go ahead and do a quick save now, and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, the next step is 13, and it wants us to add the following style to the main section of the page. You can see I already have the text entered in, and that is what you need to key in as well. It wants to float the main section on the left margin. Once the left margin has been cleared of previous floated objects, set the size of the left margin to 21%, set the size of the top margin to 20 pixels, and set the width of the main section to 49% of the page body. Now underneath this one, we're going to get prepared, and you'll notice, what am I missing? My closing bracket, so I'm going to go ahead and add that in now. And I'm going to press enter, and for step 14 we're going to put for heading 1 headings that are direct children of the main section, add styles to set the text color to value 189, 131, 82, set the font size to 180% with normal weight, and set the letter spacing to 5 pixels. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, you can see that I have that all keyed in. Now notice that we did the pounder number sign, the word made, the greater than symbol, H1 bracket, and then we have our color listed in. Then we have our font size, our font weight is normal, and letter spacing is 5 pixels. So now we're going to move on to the next step, which is step 15, and it wants us to set the margins of the paragraphs within the main section to 15 pixels. For the unordered lists within the main section, display a disc marker, set the margin around the entire unordered list to 25 pixels, and set the bottom margin of each item to 10 pixels. Let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, you can see that we did this in 3 separate style rules. So we have the main, P for paragraph, margin 15 pixels. So we have our first for unordered list here. We have the style, list style type set to disk, the margin of 25 pixels. And then again for our unordered list, we have the margin at the bottom set to 10 pixels. Okay, this is going to end the first video for this tutorial. Go ahead and do a quick save, and then you can go and click back in YouTube onto the second part of the video that'll pick up where we left off on step 16. So go ahead and do that now. Make sure you do a quick save first though.